probably one or two of them are going to be LGBTQ. You're going to have one that's maybe special needs. You're gonna have one or more that are going to have other medical issues that don't involve your brain. You're probably going to have one of them it has substance abuse issues. You're going to have all of these things, and I guess you see, people need to take care of themselves. But the reality is, though, is that people are not this unique ability. They don't have this unique ability to always take care of themselves.
Yeah, that's what an education is for. That's what you don't have, Pepe. It's called knowledge. That's what you're lacking.
You know, that's the piece of shit that got literally got kicked out of the military for being mentally ill. But you know, we have people like John Kitover, for example, which he's an annoying menace. You guys never really see me go really at him, despite he says a lot of mean shit to me. But you know, at the end of the day, he's a mentally ill individual, and I literally, do I want to see him suffering? Do I want to see him homeless? No. You know, I don't want to see any of this stuff. But the whole fucking point, though, is that when it comes to people can take care of themselves. I'm just going to be very blunt and realistic here. You have really clean, nice, high trust societies like in Scandinavia. Other Europeans are monkeys compared to them for whatever reason. They're not as high trust. They cannot replicate their behavior, but these are people where they have these large safety nets where they don't let their own people suffer. But as soon as they start letting immigrants in, they absolutely you have people that absolutely are like fucking leeches. They just drain it. Okay, and to be realistic, I just think that there's such a fundamental difference between not only individuals but groups of people that this all sounds like a fantasy. Like what do you think is going to happen in America? You have Minnesota, where you had a bunch of fucking Scandinavians that ended up immigrating there, a rather high trust society. They're like, oh yes, I want to add all of these benefits to these Minnesotans, and then what? You have a bunch of low-class, scammy, scummy pieces of shit from Somalia that come in, and they don't operate by the same fucking system. They're going to abuse it. And
I think you have scammy people regardless of the background, but we live in a society where...
No. Pepe has admitted that he's a 1990s Democrat. Pepe is a 1990s Democrat. That's what he says he is.
Sorry, we live in a society where if the government wanted to...
in the 1990s
You're a 1990s Democrat. You admitted it.
Federal level wanted to invest in more of a surveillance infrastructure for benefits, it would be far easier to implement. They just haven't done it. They haven't invested in that. I think
why
that
the
is
fuck
something...
do you think that is? No, but this
it's
is just
cheaper to do
insidious.
that
Why do you think that is?
in society.
Why do you think that is? Why do you think that is? Do you think the Democrats use them?
Do you know, like, you're in Florida, right?
Okay,
the worst, like, opium prescribers that existed were these doctors in Florida, right?
Okay, that's fine. Okay, once again, a low trust population. I deliberately brought up Scandinavians, okay? And of course, Scandinavians...
Why don't you bring up Mexicans? Aren't you Mexican? What the fuck do you guys do?
Because parts of Mexico are not a high trust society.
Did we go through that list?
There's amongst the most low trust... Shut the fuck up, bitch, and let me fucking finish. Like, what the fuck is the matter with you?
You're not Mexicans here or Somalis.
Shut the fuck up, bitch.
We don't give a damn what you're talking about.
So, literally, you have people from the most low trust societies Like, that's fucking retarded.
I would agree with you. Like, look at
Fucking you fat bitch.
if you look at Scandinavia, well, I wish I were fat. That would be better than
I said Jazzy, not you.
Okay.
One has to swim across an ocean or two, and one could just walk across the border.
I do agree, though.
Listen, kick Pepe to the goo. Pepe is a racist piece of shit. Kick Pepe to the goo.
If you look at Scandinavian populations, like within their society, they're in homogenous societies. Like if you go to Finland, you're not likely to see people of different cultural backgrounds. But we live in a very diverse population. We live with different cultures.
You just made my point for me.
But we live in
You
different
made my point
cultures.
for me. Diversity kills
also
high
a-
trust. Robert Putnam's
It's like,
study in 2003
Can I get to the
fucking
point
killed
that I
this
was making
goddamn
before
debate.
you interrupt me?
That's the nerve of you to say that as you're a Mexican that
So,
gets to be
what
a
I-
fucking
I'm a
assimilated
dirty
American.
Go ahead. This
What
spigot is
I'm trying to state is that
We want
one of
people
the-
here that want to
one
assimilate.
of
That's
the
all.
like best
Mexicans
benefits.
don't
Mind me up so I
Like,
can kick
you-
this bitch. Mind me up so I can kick this bitch, Matt.
We want them gone.
Can you please
We want you gone. We want your family
I'm gonna go to bed and tell
Watch how Pepe deals with the stress. Pepe can't deal with the anxiety unless he's modded.
Calm down. Let's get back to
Mind me up so I can kick this bitch. Let's be real.
Can I just finish the sentence in response?
Just
So-
finish up. You go ahead. Yeah, finish
Okay.
up, but then we want to get back to the point
Yeah.
we had earlier.
The point is that the diversity has its weaknesses, right? But we also have some of the best food culture that exists in the entire world. We have the best, like, the ability to, like, understand and learn more about different cultures.
Those are the weakest value judgments you could ever fucking make.
That's
Are you
not
serious?
Sorry, I'm trying to.
We're literally talking about what strengthens or makes it something healthy, not about your food choices.
Well, apparently nobody taught you manners. If you want to like
Yeah,
hold
shut up.
Scandinavian culture on a pedestal, they are a very well-mannered society. They don't do this. They don't do what you're doing.
Because they didn't let most of the European monkeys and most of the fucking non-European monkeys into their fucking countries. That is why they no, hold on. No. There is a difference.
Let her talk, you fucking mongrel.
There is literally
Talk.
shut your black
Chihuahua,
ass up.
let her talk.
Shut the fuck up, dickhead.
You sound like some railroad wearing, chimichanga eating bitch.
That's what this thing is gonna talk.
You goddamn bean eating, nacho chip.
Only Spencer's strong enough to stand up for America. Is it because
you?
I'm speaking on behalf of the whites. Yeah.
If you want to talk about like the low-performing or low-hanging fruit, it's the people that do this all day. The trolls. The trolls are like what?
Like Jazzy. I know, I get it.
No, you're.
Don't say my name. Don't say my name. You goddamn grass-cutting Mexican fuck. Don't say my name. I don't care what you say about me. You're a loser.
That black bitch, shut the fuck up.
When we go
You're a
back
loser.
to
You're in here arguing all the fucking time with you.
possibly.
You're weird, bro.
I don't even know what the topic.
Any chance we could go back to the autopsy serendipity?
Sarah, hold on,
Sure.
1 second, serendipity. Could we, because we were having a beautiful room.
Yeah, kick that son of a bitch out of here. And send him to cut somebody's grass, landscaping bitch.
You fat
Justice for Pepe!
in Mexico,
You damn loud,
you are a goddamn slave.
You got on Levi jeans and a construction vest right now, ready to go to work overnight.
If I
You
was
stupid idiot.
to insults all day, I would just,
Okay, hold on,
I don't know,
hold on.
join in like a men's gym where people are just making fun of each other.
Let's get back on track. What's going on here? Let's get back to the list. Serendipity. Did you have another point?
Yeah, where were we on the point serendipity?
Yeah,
We only covered the first one on the RNC. The second one,
We went back to the DMC or were we on the RNC chat GPT one?
Which do you guys? Which would you prefer? I can't remember.
You do another RNC. I think those are fascinating. Do the RNC chat
Okay.
one. Yeah, do another one.
Okay, so the second, an autopsy could potentially conclude that the Republican Party traded away durable suburban strengths for gains elsewhere, because where we tended to lose strength was with the suburban women, highly educated voters, and some younger professionals.
So where would they have traded it to, like, go when he did the rallies in the Bronx or Harlem?
Because-
like that kind of thing?
Because where they gained grounds was with men, Latino voters, and rural voters, non-college voters, and young men voters.
Yeah.
But in gaining that ground, they tended to lose suburban women, highly educated voters, and some younger professionals.
It's all about the economy.
But why wouldn't he? I mean, they would always go after the rural vote. I mean,
You don't think it's about the economy?
that's not different,
Yeah.
you know?
She even put in
They
the
lost
report.
traction there.
You read at
Because they stopped giving out welfare.
read earlier that even Hispanics turned away from Kamala because Trump was a more viable economic option in the face of mass deportation. Even then, the Hispanics still agreed with Trump.
Then they don't have to worry about
Yeah,
it.
but that goes into the blue collar workers and the rural workers. Like she did have this very elitist. She pandered to minorities and pandering to, like, I guess you could say people that, like, the coastal elites, but she neglected I would say most of the fucking country. Is pretty obnoxious.
This is a bullshit.
I think there's also like a thing that maybe people sometimes miss, and I think that this autopsy missed, is that a lot of like first generation immigrants, once they get their green card and they've gone through the very difficult process, they tend to like be like further against immigrants from their home countries. I don't know why that is. Maybe my evidence is a little anecdotal, but I've noticed that amongst communities that I've been part of, and they're like, oh, these are lower quality people. They're not like the PhD level individuals.
Okay, thank you very much, E. Listen, the extract, the core thesis or the call to action of this extract or this analysis, this after action ready review post-mortem Democrat failure of Kamala, it says that Democrats need a new forward-thinking electoral strategy focusing on more than who or what is on the ballot and addressing how Democrats can reconnect with Americans at every level across our country. We must organize everywhere to win anywhere. Emphasizes renewed focus on Middle America and the South.
So based on what
So like James Delarico is like able to organize like at a rate that I think many Democrats, especially Texas, haven't had as much traction.
John.
he's not winning
Do you
in
want
Texas.
to do a stream with me?
I
He's
think
not
On
gonna
what?
win in
he's not
Texas,
going to
but
win in
even-
Texas.
But even
I
the
actually,
Democrats,
like,
their biggest
The
problem
good
is
stuff?
that they
We're gonna do a big giant
they literally
one. We're gonna do it
they
together.
have a negative identity.
Well, you're on it right now. You're on the stream right now, my friend.
2016. That's what they're against. They'll label him, call him a fascist,
So,
call him whatever the fucking
Hey,
music.
label,
He's a fucking
He's literally-
retard. He's overthrowing your country with fascism.
Hey, shut up!
Amazing, but they literally don't have any kind of positive message or anything. Like, what is the direction they want to take this country?
So I'm just going to interrupt you. Shut the
Okay,
fuck up.
here's a question for you.
Who made the point about the coastal elites? Who said that? Was that you?
It was
I
Phoebe!
think that was a really good point, and something about we were talking about Kamala not reaching out other than to the coastal elites. I have a question, and I'm going to go back to the Beyonce and the concerts. What if she was doing country western concerts? What if she started, she was doing the same kind of programming, but just not to the coastal elites, or not to the two sides of the country, but to the middle of the country?
I mean, I think if they
Do you think that would have changed it?
I think if it was
wasn't
sincere, which I don't
Right,
think
same,
that she,
wait, do you understand my question?
Yeah,
Same
and what
format.
wasn't in the autopsy, but
Right.
was something that was
Hold
definitely
on,
prevalent.
just wait.
What was definitely prevalent from my perspective is that you still had a large proportion of men, and especially Hispanic men, that, and also black men to some degree, that didn't want a woman in office. Like, regardless of who she was.
So regardless of what
Literally
she
just
did,
wouldn't vote for a woman.
it wouldn't matter
And so
then.
I think that is something that
I think that's funny. Is why have Latin American countries,
bother?
including the one that, like,
Why
when we
bother?
think of
Just run it
machismo,
from
the
home.
most
you're
macho.
thinking of Mexico, yeah. Like there have been.
Why is it that they have a female that is president right now? And I get it.
I don't know that
Save your
Catholic
money.
immigrants wanted to
For
vote
Google
for
ads.
a woman without children who married a Jewish man. Like they're all sorts
Why
of
bother?
together.
Just run it from home and WeWork. Save your money for Google
What
ads.
I
Okay,
noticed just from
no. You have to backtrack because they voted for a literal fucking Jew. No. Let's be realistic here. They voted for a literal.
No, they voted for a Jew. Did you hear what Pepe just said? They voted for a Jew.
Shut the fuck up, John.
What is your point, Dr. Pepe?
Somebody who is ethnically, basically foreign to fucking Mexico, and she. Why did they?
Why would they vote for a Jew? Why would they vote for a Jew?
I get to the goo. So you have the most macho Latin American country that votes for this more whitish Jewish woman, and why would they do that? Because you're trying to say that the Mexican Americans are somehow not going to vote for
did I say
Kamala because she's
Mexican
married to a Jew.
Americans? Didn't. I said Latin Americans, and we had a large influx of people from also over.
Why
but
bother?
the vast majority are
Save your
Mexican,
money.
And the Mexicans are much more macho. I guess you could say. In other words, they believe that you should have a strong male leader in charge in a way, but
You know, I lived in South America. I know, like, women, even, like, if there was a son in the car, the son sat at the front, a shotgun, and the mother would sit at the back seat.
Okay, are you going to deny that, like, Latin Americans are the most macho out of all of the Latin Americans? Do you disagree with that fact?
Which ones?
Mexicans, much more male
no.
dominant.
I think that machismo is something like the idea of the man being the shepherd of the household, the Catholicism that it, like, persists throughout the society. I don't think that that's the case. I think it's all over Latin America. And
No, I completely disagree. But okay.
oh well. Okay.
It is all over Latin
I
America
just think
to
that
extent, but
the
to try
hill
to say that it's not
let me
that
give you
characteristic is
Isn't
not the
Italy a
strongest in
Catholic
Mexico
country?
is
Let me
absolutely
reframe.
fucking retarded.
Don't they have
Let
a
me
woman
reframe
running
it very
Italy, and
quickly.
that's a Catholic?
When Trump lost, it was to a man, and we saw, like, high turnout in the election when
Okay, mod me up.
Is it that they voted for a fucking woman or they voted for a Jew? Why did they do that?
I don't want to get into what I'm referring now broader to the electorate of the United States.
Hold on. Your claim
And
was that
you're
because she's a woman who's married to a Jew, they would not vote for her. Now, I just brought up a much different example where we can control for the population. Okay, people of Mexican descent, where they voted for a woman who didn't just marry a Jew, she is a fucking Jew. So
But you're
why
latching on-
did they do that?
You're latching on to only one comment that I made, and you're making that the center. Like you're you're misunderstanding
No, the
what I
center.
stated.
No, the center of your the center of your argument is that they did not vote for her because she is a woman and because she married a Jew. That is literally.
No.
And the first one, more important, they voted for a woman.
I also raised multiple populations, and you're only focusing, and you're also even further saying minutia of the population that I mentioned, which was Latin Americans, and you're only talking about.
In charge? Isn't there a woman in charge there?
Yeah, Maloney is in charge.
I mean, there's women that have run Catholic countries.
What I'm referring to is the broader electorate in the United States, and if there were no lessons learned from the Hillary campaign, it should be a person with a ton of political baggage that has been in the focus of society for many, many years or decades, which was the case with both Hillary and with Kamala. Like, you end up with individuals that it would be so easy to create narratives that these individuals are not supporting your values. Even if they do.
I get what you're saying, but maybe it's the wrong women that ran. Like, what if Condoleezza Rice? What if Condoleezza Rice was?
Oh no, she would be awful. Nobody would vote for her.
No, you think no one would vote
I
for
don't
her?
think so.
Literally,
I don't
so
think she
much
would
more
make it.
intelligent and well
Oh
spoken
yes,
than
I agree with you.
Kamala Harris. So, like, why would we?
Like circles
So
around Kamala Harris.
I agree with you. But I think that anybody that has been mentioned is far more intelligent than Trump. I'm in Europe right now, and it is people are like countries that I would never expect are like moving closer.
Where in Europe
to
are you?
China. Central Europe.
Central Europe. Okay. Oh, okay, but I mean, do you realize that like these are countries? We can look at Spain. We can look at other countries where they have leaders that are just so self-hating and.
I'm not in Spain.
Disgusting.
I'm not in Spain.
You said Central Europe. Yeah, you said Central Europe, which is obviously not Spain. But I mean,
But I traveled to a couple of countries, and the sentiment is like always like. But at what point are people going to think
But
that
their
he's
sentiment
just
is shitty
ready
too.
to like be retired to the pasture? Like that is the sentiment.
I think.
Okay, but these countries largely fucking suck now. I mean,
Hold on one second. Nick Sword wanted to get in real quick, you guys. It's been you two. So, Sword, do you want to say something, or what's going on?
Yeah, I had a question to the sister. Did you say Kamala Harris is smarter than Trump?
Oh shit.
Of course. Like, why would that even be a question?
Really? How do you judge smart? How do you judge smart?
Intelligence?
Or how do you think she? How about like where you went to college? Want we start with that? Let's compare the two.
Why didn't he release his grades?
Well,
Why were his grades more classified than the documents?
his grades aren't classified, and he got through Wharton. She did not go to Wharton. She went to Howard.
Daddy that
Howard
was
is
very
not
wealthy.
an Ivy League school. He went to Wharton, which is impossible to get through. And so let's compare intelligence.
Do you
She
believe
could
in
not get
nepotism?
into Penn.
Abby,
She
do
could
you-
not go to Wharton.
Abby, do
He
you
did.
believe in nepotism?
No, I know exactly where you're going. However, you tried to get through Wharton. You didn't. Okay? It's a very hard school.
I didn't.
I repeat, it's a very hard school. He got through it. She did not. Now you're going to say she's more intelligent. He went to a better school, and he got through it. Sorry, Sword, to take. but like you can't compare. It's like having Vance when he had his debate and he went to Yale Law.
Hey,
You got him with
did you attend?
this moron that was a coach.
Heard
Let me just give you
6,000
one.
You're gonna
Like,
say that
plus
side by side
telephone
the other VP is smarter than Trump's VP.
Okay,
conference
On the
call?
national debate stage, when we saw Trump versus Kamala,
Clown World.
really? No, he said they're eating the dogs.
He
They're
gave out
eating
60
on the
million.
floor with her. What do you think, Sword?
What?
When you said he said that they're eating the dogs, there was actually video proof that the lady was eating. The lady ate the dog.
They're
Did you attend the Hood 6,000 press conference call? He gave out 60 million to donate
I don't
16.
even know what to do with this. I feel like you're so stupid. There's nothing I can say that's going to convince you that that was actually just like a fake story that somebody put on Facebook and that was later like reposted, and then Elon posted it, and then Laura Loomer, who met with Trump and had whatever relationship she had with him,
What do you mention there? She's
mentioned it.
You just alluded to something. What do you mean relationship shit? I'm gonna catch everything you say when you say bullshit.
Well, I'm just
Bullshit.
I'm sorry, but
she was the
there's
one
a
that
reason
wrote in the
that word
she wrote in the
salad.
plane.
Yeah, she thinks
Here's the
word
thing.
salad is more intelligent.
There's a reason that
I
word
don't
salad.
think that. I think there's a difference between
She's
intelligence and
serendipity
being
and
able
burdens.
to and being in communication. Intelligence and communication don't always go in hand in hand, which is why, like, if you look at encryption experts, many of them are autistic. So, you know.
She struggled in every unscripted setting. Every interview that she did, she struggled. I'm sorry, but at some point, oh yeah, I'm sorry, but at some point,
Thank you.
in an unscripted setting, there would need to be proof of her ability to answer a question. Like her meandering and her word salad were. I don't even know how this is up for debate. This woman came off as a complete and total blowjob, dick sucking retard. I mean, there was nothing eloquent or educated or intelligent about her whatsoever. She never gave off that premise. The only time that she did well is when she locked herself in a fucking padded room for 3 days to prepare for a debate. It was completely scripted because her best friend handed it to her. I mean, that's the only time she performed well
I don't
throughout
think
the entire time that she campaigned.
She
I don't think she
fraudulently
was-
said she was a trial lawyer when she wasn't. I mean, we can go through what she claimed that she had in her career.
No, I don't want to defend her because honestly, she wouldn't have been the candidate had Joe Biden not run in the first place to be on the ticket. If he would have stepped down before, there would have been a primary and there would have been a much smoother path to identifying the best person. Do I think she was the best person? Absolutely not. Did I know Trump definitely wasn't the right person? Absolutely. So for me, it was the choice between the lesser of two bads and one who I knew to be completely off the cuffs, not have a plan, to make decisions very impulsively, and to do things that just were not in the best interest of the country, even if it were the best interest for his business or his friend's business. And that's the way that he operates, which makes sense as a private business person. And that's somebody that you would probably want to invest a little bit in. But not if not when you want, no, I mean,
Look, I want to interject. You can't just.
actually, I probably wouldn't ever invest. Yeah.
No, I really didn't get an answer to my so E, if you can, from I wanna see this from your perspective. So when you say all of the people that they mentioned are smarter than Trump, can you tell me how you see, how do you rank and file whatever it is you use for your criteria? How do you see this and come to the conclusion? And you can just pick a candidate. It doesn't matter who it is. Kind of walk me through how you think about this.
Yeah, I can do that very easily. have individuals that are politically savvy, that understand
Guaranteed to
the
lose.
history of our
Guaranteed to
relationships
lose.
with certain allies, that also understand key long-term initiatives that the U.S. has already invested quite a bit in. So, for example, when it came to the immigration issue, the idea of dealing with the root cause for the immigration was something that had been top of mind, and so there were key like strategic investments that had been made. Also, for example, I honestly, and please take this with a grain of salt if you want to, but if you were to give Trump a basic civics exam of how does the government function, I don't think he would have passed it. I also don't think Elon Musk would have passed it. Because the first thing that they did was doge off things like USAID.
The last
what are we
number
seeing
that we
now?
got from
Like in
ICE
the
on the total number of
Democratic Republic of Congo?
deportations was December 2024, when Joe Biden was still the president. That is until the middle of April 2026, last month. And we got the total number of deportations for fiscal year 2025. Would you like to know what it was? The total number of deportations for fiscal year 2025 was 442,000. Now, a few things about that number. In the first place, let's remember we were promised 1 million deportations per year. That was the goal. Joe Biden allowed 10 million illegal aliens in 4 years. If we even wanted to return all of those people in Trump's term and just get us back to where we were in 2020, you would need to remove 2.5 million per year. The goal was 1 million per year. What the administration actually recorded was 442,000. Now here's where it gets interesting. They actually gave us a completely different figure in their press release at the end of 2025. In December 2025, the administration told us it was 600,000. And you might remember this. There was this triumphant celebration at the end of the year. They said the first year of the Trump administration, and we succeeded, mission accomplished. We deported 600,000 people.
You have a gross
So which
I
is-
mean, for the
According
tag
to
of
the press
maybe
office of
budget
DHS,
of
at the end of
USAID
last year, it was
actually
over
did any good.
600,000. According
Let's
to
talk-
ICE's official statistics in April, it's about 440,000. So what accounts for the disparity? Well, in December 25, the New York Times actually broke down those figures, and they told us, no, realistically, it was about 230,000 deportations, and the rest were arrests. The discrepancy between the 230,000 deportations and the 600,000 number that the administration gave is that they arrested maybe 300,000 additional people. So how many actually were taken back to their country of origin? Well, really only about 230,000. The rest are people that have been apprehended. And on apprehensions, not everybody that gets arrested is even detained. So they may have arrested 400,000, 300,000 additional people. Many of them get turned away. Many of them are picked up and they're detained for a little while and then they let them go. And many of them are detained and they're still in detention. And many of them, they're in the process of adjudicating their claim with immigration. But probably the vast majority of them, they just let them go because they don't have the infrastructure for this. There was a famous example in California, I believe, where a bunch of anti-ICE activists actually stormed and broke into a detention center and they found that it was empty. So they recorded something like 200,000 deportations, real removals in December. In April, they tell us it's something like 440,000. So there's still a discrepancy. It's not 600,000. Well, is it 230,000 or is it 440,000? Well, today we finally have learned why we have this discrepancy. And this is really going to blow you away. I mean, this is really bad. This is really something. Is it 442,000 deportations?
That's what we kind of
The answer is no.
So it's one thing to say,
Because
well, I'm
if
an
you
ally,
actually
I'm a
go
friend,
on the
but
DHS
also the
website
company you
and
keep,
you look
okay,
at
this
their
has a lot
official
about
report,
you,
if you look at the
okay,
data
because
set,
we don't have that luxury
they've
to say,
done
oh, well,
a little statistical trick to inflate the numbers. We're not sure exactly by how much. That's actually the purpose of this little trick. What Tom Homan came out today and said is that the administration is now combining the number of interior removals and returns at the border. And I'll tell you what that means in a moment, but this is a story. This is from Axios. It says, quote, "The White House plans to start counting people who were quickly removed after crossing the border in its deportation statistics. Republicans fumed that former President Obama was cooking the books when he used the same playbook to tout record deportations during his administration. White House border czar Tom Homan told the Washington Examiner on Wednesday that Trump will count deportations by combining work from ICE in the country's interior with Customs and Border Protection's quicker returns of people crossing at the border. ICE data released in April showed the agency deported 442,000 people in fiscal year 2025. So what does this mean? Well, during the administration of Barack Obama, you had two categories of what counts as a deportation: removals and returns. An interior removal is when ICE, Immigration Customs Enforcement, go to, let's say, a Home Depot parking lot in Chicago, Illinois, or they go to a farm in Iowa, they go to a meat processing plant in Nebraska. And ICE will go there, they will find some illegal alien who has no papers, no citizenship, no residency. They will apprehend that person, detain that person, and remove that person from the country. That is one kind of deportation. That is an interior removal. And when we think of deportations, obviously that is what we're thinking. What is catch and release at the border? It's when an illegal alien shows up at the border, we catch them, detain them, and then we release them into the interior of the country. And then we lose track of them. And you've got millions and millions of illegal aliens that have either jumped the border, or they're a catch and release, or they overstayed a visa, they slipped in between the cracks, whatever, and now we have these millions and millions and millions of people living inside our borders, inside the interior, inside every major city, and they've got no residency, no citizenship, no paperwork.
With Amazon Global Logistics, we've been able to spend less time worrying about logistics and more time focusing on our products. It allows us to just sort of ship things as they're made from where they're made. And so that saves us a ton of time and saves us money. Amazon Global Logistics is the way to do it.
Kicked out. That's an interior removal. But there's another category that is classified under DHS and their statistics as a deportation. It is called a border return. And a return is when an illegal alien, which in this case would actually really just be a foreign national, let's say you live in Guatemala, you live in Honduras, you make the journey up through Mexico, you arrive at our southern border, and at that point you're a foreign national. You're a citizen of Guatemala. You're a citizen of Honduras. You emigrated. You surrender at a port of entry at the U.S. border. Border Patrol, rather than ICE, will pick you up and turn you away. You show up, either you're caught jumping the fence, or you surrender at a port of entry. Either way, Border Patrol apprehends you, and they send you back to where you came from. They pick you up, and they say, nope, you gotta go. And this happens immediately. A border jumper will arrive at the border, Border Patrol picks them up, and sends them back. Get out. Interior removal, return at the border. One is enforced by ICE inside the interior and really is a deportation. The other is enforced by Border Patrol and it happens at the border. And we would just call that border enforcement. That's just having a border. Well, under the Obama administration, they just combined those statistics and called all of those deportations. And what started to happen is that as the Obama administration went on, they removed fewer and fewer people and they returned more and more. So the number of deportations remained relatively constant. They actually called Obama the deporter in chief. He got a lot of credit for being relatively conservative on the border, but that's because they were cooking the books. Obama had a very lax border policy, which attracted a lot of illegal immigration, and so they were turning away a ton of people. And every person they turned away, of which there were many, they added to this category of deportations. And so on paper, it said we have deportations. They weren't removing anybody from the country. We just had a very bad problem at the border. And many people were getting in, and many people were being turned away.